Hello, Justin. My name is Dee, and I own and run DVH Accounting, which is a bookkeeping firm slash company slash all around helping small businesses to be more profitable.
So within small businesses, I guess we could start like, how do you start a small business?
Well, most people that start a small business, it means that they're very good at something. So they're very good at landscaping or carpentry, or they have their general contractor's license and they're working for somebody and then they want to go off on their own. So then they realize that they can do better working on themselves on their own than working for somebody. So that's when they get the idea to start the business.
You gotta stick it to the man in some way, right?
Well, yeah, I
Start your
mean,
own business.
you're going to
Yeah.
make if you do it right, you're going to be more profitable making the money for yourself than for someone else, you know. If you have the drive and you have the capital and the support, uh, friends, family, to push you in the right direction, and people in your corner that are going to guide you to be successful.
So how do you start the business?
Oh,
Tax
well,
wise, I guess, and
tax wise,
or
bookkeeping
bookkeep.
wise, the first thing you do is what I think you do is you try to talk to some people that have their own business and find out how they got started and who they used and where they go first, because you have to find out from your community the best way to do it. There's a lot of there's like a chamber, there's BNI networks, there's all kinds of networking in the valley and in the community that can help you. And you talk to those people and you find out how they got started, you know. And you have to have money. I mean, you have to have capital. You have to have money in the bank to start your own business. Period. You you can't go and start your own business with $100. It just doesn't work that way.
So it's true. You got to spend money to make
You do
money.
have to spend money, but you got to have the money. You don't want the credit. You got to have the capital. So,
So you're bookkeeping. You're not CPA.
no, I'm not a CPA, and I never claimed that I am. I know a lot of them, and I have them as resources. I don't do taxes. I do all of the stuff to prepare a person to do the taxes. So I put everything together in a nice, neat little package, and then the business owner gives it to their tax preparer to do the tax return. And 90% of the time, I'm communicating back and forth with their. It could be a tax preparer, it could be a CPA, it could be an enrolled agent, but they have the software and the knowledge to prepare the returns.
So
Because
what break down, like, what would be everything? What do you,
everything as far as the tax
as
return.
everything that they give you, right? As
Oh,
your
so the things that the CPA wants or the tax preparer, because the tax preparer doesn't necessarily mean that they're a CPA either. They just have a tax preparer's license, or they want to sign their name to a tax return. Okay, so most of the time they're a CPA or they're an enrolled agent, but there are some people out there that just call themselves tax preparers.
and
So
those aren't bookkeepers. Those
usually
aren't
they're
CPA.
not. They're usually a CPA, tax preparer, or an enrolled agent with the IRS. They can do taxes as well, and they don't want to do the bookkeeping. They don't want the mundane, daily transactional, having to reconcile, putting them in categories. They don't want to do that. So that's where I come in.
This got so much more complicated than I thought it was going to be. So there's a bookkeeper, there's a tax preparer, and then
Yes.
there's a guy that does the taxes, like your CPA.
No, the
That
tax
or
preparer
is
is, it can be a CPA or an enrolled agent. That's what they're
Oh,
called.
okay.
That's what they're called, tax
Oh,
preparers.
okay. So
Yeah.
they're in a bucket of that. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I got it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought there was like many more hands in
Yeah,
the.
so technically you have like the business owner and then they have a team or not, or it might be one guy. Then you have the bookkeeper that can work for them directly or they hire outside, which would be me. And then I put together the financials and all the packages to give to the tax preparer, CPA slash enrolled agent in that bucket, and then they file it.
Okay. So like your client gives you like their receipts
No, I
and
everything nowadays has gotten so electronic, and it makes it so much more easier for the bookkeeper, myself, and much more efficient if they know what they're doing. Where you don't need the receipts because everything's so electronic. I mean, you go to Home Depot, and you have a Home Depot account as a contractor, you just go online, you can see the receipt online. So you don't necessarily have to save the receipt.
Like the whole receipt?
The whole receipt.
Itemized?
Yeah, yes.
Can you do that like everywhere, or?
Well, a lot of people, you can keep the paper, but over time it fades. So I tell my clients to scan them. I don't necessarily need them, but for an audit trail, for backup purposes, I have them keep them. So let's say they go to Costco and they spend $1,500 at Costco. I have no idea what that Costco is. So I call them and I'll say, send me the receipt for the $1,500 Costco. And then I'll see what they do. And they're pretty good about it.
Because the IRS doesn't accept faded.
Right, you can't see it. They're not going to think, they're going to think it's made up.
I think somebody needs to get on that.
Yes. So supposedly there's a new, when you print out a receipt, supposedly it's some kind of new paper and new ink that it doesn't fade. But that
would be great.
Who knows if that's true or not? But
I'm just surprised. It's like it goes to your bank, right? It'd be great if you can just like open your statement in the bank, and then that drops down with all the items that you also purchased.
Yeah,
it's all
maybe
there.
Eventually it'll get that way, but
I think
then banks are going to start charging people to do that. I mean, they already charge you. Some banks will charge businesses, you get that $15, $20, $35 a month analysis charge or bank fee, and that includes getting your statements online, and having everything online.
That's why I'm going to go to X.
So
and just let Elon handle everything. 'Cause he'll do it. He won't charge you for that.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm sure he's got plenty of bookkeepers and tax people.
I think you just have Claude.
But
Claude
like you
could
go
just
to
write
the
code,
gas
right?
station, you get gas. I don't need that receipt. You don't even need to see it. I mean, it's pretty simple. If you go to a Shell station and it's $58, I mean, nobody's going to question a $58, 23 cents.
But also sometimes like you don't do the gas. It's like you could either do the gas or you can do the mileage.
Right, but you still want to record it. So you still record it because it's still a transaction where the money came out of your bank. So it still gets recorded. And then hopefully you're keeping track of your mileage, and then whatever the mileage rate is for that tax year, you multiply it, and then you take that number, but you have to also add your gas and any repairs and maintenance that you do on the vehicle and the registration, and then you add those up. All three of those, if it's greater than the mileage, then you use those. If the mileage is greater, then you use that. But the CPA, tax preparer, will decide which is better. And then that's what goes in the return.
How big of like businesses do you typically do? Like, do you do it from like a single sole proprietor entrepreneur
so
to?
I have clients that, number one, I've had for a really long time. And like one guy is just a one operation window, and he puts in windows. But he works for somebody that owns the window company, and he's just the installer. So he has his own company as the installer, and he gets a 1099. So when you are working for somebody as a 1099 contractor, you can then in turn have your own business, and you got to have your own financials for your own part of the tax return. So I have those type of clients, and then I also have clients that are an S corp that are a larger company that maybe have employees and they have payroll and stuff like that, which would be a landscaper. They're a very large landscaper, so they have like maybe 6 or 7 employees. So then they're a larger corporation, and then so I have anywhere from just the one single person to somebody that has an actual company and a brick and mortar and stuff like that.
Does it matter if they're like a sole proprietor, S corp, C corp, and like what's the difference, and how's that make a difference in what you're doing?
It makes a difference with mostly the tax return. The LLC, one guy LLC, might not be an S corp because you have to qualify to be an S corp and a corporation, and that's based on your revenue. The IRS will look at, you have to fill out a special form to send that in to become an S corp, and really it's just a tax shelter. So a lot of people are S corps, but they have to meet the criteria, and you also have to pay yourself a reasonable salary to be an S corp. So a single entrepreneur guy can also be an S corp if he makes enough revenue. So a window installer probably he doesn't make more than $70,000 or $80,000 in revenue. If he made $700,000, then he could be an S corp.
And you know that because
I know
you do
that
his
because
books.
I've been doing it for a really long time.
Well, I won't be a window installer then.
Yeah.
So what can I write off?
Oh, that's such the biggest question. Asks me
Everything.
that. Everybody asks me that.
Just write it all off.
You cannot write it all off. Meals, depending on the type of business you are and whatever the tax code is for that year, is usually 50%. And everybody goes around and thinking they can go and write off every single meal that they eat. Well, you can't.
When I'm working.
So it doesn't matter. If unless you are, there's certain classifications in the tax code that tell you the businesses that can write off 100% meals. So, and those change all the time depending on, that's why I'm not a CPA, because you have to know that those tax codes all the time. So, and I'm better at what I do now. But you can write off your meals, just won't be 50%, but all of your vehicle stuff that we talked about, your liability insurance, workers' comp if you have payroll, advertising, office supplies, stuff like that. Anything that's general office stuff. If you work from home, you can write off a certain percentage of your expenses. So if you have a space that's 400 square feet and your house is 2,000, you get the percentage of what that is to your house. And then you take that and then you can write off that percentage of your expenses.
What about backyard space?
Unless you're running backyard entertaining and you have parties.
Not storage.
No, you can have a storage expense.
Okay.
You can probably
Charging
do that
myself
and
storage
charge
expense.
yourself storage expense. You can charge yourself rent, but that's kind of a slippery slope too. If you're in the same house, you can only, like your mortgage, you can do a certain percentage of your mortgage, but you're not necessarily paying yourself.
Now I have an office dog. What about their dog food?
A lot of people, the dog food is a no. That would be a no. But I have a client that works from home and he has 2 dogs. One is a very loud dog, and he likes to code all of the veterinary bills to security system because the dog barks because he works from home, and there are some trades and people that go to his house for his work. So he does write off some of those bills as security. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but that is what he has instructed me to do. Even though I say no, so the client can override and I can put it. But it's still.
But then the IRS might come after
But
you.
if he gets audited, they could deny those charges.
And then
those
you're
expenses.
like, I told you so.
Yes.
You don't get in trouble for it? Does he
I
get in
don't. I
trouble
don't
for it?
sign anything. I don't put my name to it. It's his card. It's his money. It's, he signs the tax return. I don't. He has his own tax person I work with. And some tax people want to see a detailed general ledger. And on there, it'll say veterinary bill in the security system expense account. And they can just not use it, So, and then he or she, the tax person, is going to tell the client, your bookkeeper put this in this expense, and he can say, yeah, I told her to, or he can say, oh, she shouldn't have done that. Doesn't matter. They can say, no, I don't think it's a good idea, or sometimes they don't even look. It depends. Everybody does it different.
So I guess let's go into what is a TPT?
A TPT is a transaction privilege tax license in the state of Arizona. And that means they give you, it's a license to sell goods. If you're just a service-based business and that's all you're doing, like mine, there is no transaction privilege tax license because there's no tax on labor. But if you are, like one of the clients I had owns a nursery, so way out in Surprise. I mean, it's far. I haven't ever even been there. And he buys the trees or the plants from another wholesaler, and then he turns around and sells it to the public.
I thought you were talking about children at first, but okay.
Oh.
Yes, for
Yeah, he
plants.
doesn't buy
Okay.
and sell children.
Only the
Hopefully that
government
AI
does.
is going to cut that part out. So, so he was charging the customer tax. So you charge the customer tax, and then you pay that tax. So it's really a wash. You get it in, and then you pay it to the state, and you have to report it. So, but he didn't want to do that anymore. So then he switched to being a wholesale buyer. So he's paying the tax when he buys the product and therefore not passing it on to the customer because he already paid it when he bought it. So then he just becomes a service-based business. That's yeah, it's kind of tricky. I don't think that it's going to come back to bite him. I've already told him he's not supposed to be doing that. But he wanted to do it, and we kind of fought about it. And I say fought, argued, and I read him the thing, and he just doesn't think it applies to him. So he canceled his TPT license, just went and did it on his own, without kind of telling me. And then I went to go file it, and it was closed, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" So then he said, "Well, I'm just going to pay the tax when I buy it, and I'm not going to pass it on to my customer." So, if he gets a letter in the mail, then I have to help him with it, but there's not much I can do, because that's kind of it's a slippery slope with that one too, you know. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's pretty straightforward. You have a HVAC contractor, and he his is very simple. He has two categories. You have the subcontracting income, where he works for a general contractor, and then that general contractor is responsible for the sales tax, and he is not. But then he has customers that he goes to their home, and he works directly for the homeowner. That one, he would pay tax on that income because he's buying materials to fix that person's house. Do you understand the difference between the general contractor paying the tax and then him paying the tax?
Kind of.
Okay. So
Do you
somebody
feel
has
like
to pay the
some?
tax.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to pay it, whether it's the homeowner paying it or the general contractor paying it. Somebody's paying it. So
Now, why wouldn't he want to have a TPT license?
the landscaper,
Yeah, the
or
landscaper.
because he didn't want to pay the tax. He didn't want to pay me to file the taxes. Is really what it came down to it, because I charge a fee to file a monthly or a quarterly transaction privilege tax return. I mean, my time isn't free, so I charge for doing it. So he didn't want to pay the tax when it came to paying the tax, and he didn't want to pay me to do it.
Isn't there a fee to have the license too?
Yeah, it's not very much. It's like $50.
A
It's
month?
annual.
Annual 50.
Yeah, yeah.
So I should do that myself.
So it's an annual.
I was
fee.
doing it at one point.
Oh, yeah.
I was buying and selling
Yeah.
equipment, audio
Yeah.
and video equipment.
Yeah, that you would have to pay tax on. Yeah. So, but it's very complicated. The Arizona tax, aztaxes.gov is the website, and it's very hard to navigate if you don't know what you're doing. And you cannot. They don't like paper returns anymore. It's all electronic, and they started that probably 20 years ago, and they held classes to teach people how to navigate the website, and it's just evolved even more so over time, and I've just figured it out on my own how to do it. So, and I've gotten a lot of people out of a lot of jams in that electronic world of aztaxes.gov, and I think the state of Arizona is the only one that does it that way.
Would make it as complicated
Yes.
as possible.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I know.
Yeah, it's like you go in there, you try to find something, you got to click it around, and you just.
Yeah. And if you do it wrong, believe me, they'll know, and they'll tell you. You'll get a letter. Yeah, and you'll
Gotten a
get a
few.
letter. That's the other thing too, is they don't call you on the phone unless you ignore the letters. So you get a letter, you don't do anything. You get another letter, you don't do anything. Whether it's the IRS, the Department of Revenue, or the Department of Economic Security, you get letters and you ignore them. Then they're going to start calling you, and then those aren't fraud.
Well, speaking of computers, like what software do you use?
I strictly use QuickBooks Online, and I have an accountant's version. So the accountant's version that I have the clients own their QuickBooks. They have their own username and password. They just assign me as an accounting firm to access their information.
Got it. Are there other options than QuickBooks?
There's a lot of other softwares out there now. I mean, there's Xero, there's Wave, they have a QuickBooks desktop that you can use that I also have. But I also have the accountant's version, which is different than the other ones. But there's a lot out there. There's a lot of them that used to be free. 5-6 years ago, they were free and it was easy and they were easy to learn and people could figure it out. But now they're charging.
Like Wave?
Yes.
Okay.
Wave used to be free and it's not free anymore.
No. So I don't use it anymore anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used it because it was free.
Yeah. But it's not good to not have something. You have to have something.
Yeah. It makes it really easy to keep everything organized in one spot.
Yes, because it links right into your business bank account, which is one of the biggest mistakes small business owners make, is that they don't have their own business bank account. And you have to have an EIN number, and you have to register with the registrar, not the Registrar of Contractors, the Arizona Corporation Commission, to have an LLC. You have to have those two things to get a business bank account.
And what is the big mistake with not having their own bank account?
Because if they're running their business out of their personal account, the IRS won't accept it because it's not a separate business account. If you get caught, they're gonna say none of these are acceptable because you used your business account that's in your business name, or your personal account that's in your personal name. How am I supposed to know that it's a business expense when you ran it through as your personal? So you have to have a business bank account separately and an EIN number. Even
if you're a sole proprietor?
Yes. Yes, especially if you're a sole proprietor. That's where you start. That's where you start. You get your EIN number, you get an LLC, you go to the bank. You can start the bank account with $100, but then the revenue that you earn for the business has to go in that business bank account. That's how it starts. That's how you start it the proper way.
Because even if not, then you're trying to figure out what was personal, what was business,
Yes,
going through
yes.
that, trying to decide, like, oh, 3 months ago, it was like, oh, I don't remember what that was for. And
yes, exactly.
you're trying to figure out what you did.
Yeah, and then you're looking at a bank statement from your personal account, and you have to go through and you have to highlight and try to remember which one is the business. And then there's no audit trail. It's all in the personal. So, and it's just a bookkeeping nightmare, and it costs a lot of money to have somebody like me to take that, and then you have to do all the accounting the other way, whereas if it was just in the business bank account, it's right there.
So tell me about the last time you had to do that. Did you ever do that with a customer? Client?
Yes. One of my clients owns a fabricating business, and she got a credit card, and she decided to use the credit card to buy all the sheet metal and stuff that she needed, and it was a personal credit card. And it didn't say the business on it, and I didn't count it. Because I didn't know. I don't have anything to do with my client's personal anything. I don't want to know. And I sent her financials, and there was no material costs on it. And she says, where's all the materials? I said, you didn't buy any materials. Because she had a business bank account. And she says, yeah, I did. I bought it with a credit card. And I said, what credit card? And so she sent me the statements, and they have her name. It's not tied to the EIN number. It's not tied to anything. So I didn't know. So technically, those were business expenses because you could see, so I had to do a journal entry and then scan those into my system so that I would have a backup. But I told her to open up a business credit card.
But she didn't have anything like personal mixed in with that credit card?
Oh, sure she did.
Oh.
Sure she did. So
you had to figure those out,
I had to figure those out, yes. Well, actually, I made her do it. I made her go through and highlight the business expenses. Because if I'm doing it, how am I supposed to know? I didn't spend it. It's not my card.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to be accountable just like I do.
Yeah. Well, one's coming from the metal shop, the other one's Bed Bath & Beyond.
Right.
Maybe they're both.
Yes.
Who knows? Maybe,
or she's
right?
going to Fry's. She could have bought, copy paper for all I know. I don't know.
Yeah. When I started, it's like getting that business account was so much easier just to think, all right, everything I do on that card, easy peasy. It's all organized.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like so much better.
Yes. Yes.
Because like when I started, I think I did only have one. It was just me.
Yeah.
And I was kind of doing some jobs. Didn't quite establish the business for a while. And it was just all mixed together. And
Yeah.
I don't even know
And it was
what happened.
difficult, right?
It's more than 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm going to worry
Yeah,
about it.
I think you're okay. You know, and in the
It's behind
beginning,
me.
that's what happens is you start a business, and in the beginning, they're getting money in their personal account, so people are paying them either Zelle or Venmo. It's going in their personal account, and then they're doing this, and then all of a sudden they decide they want to start one, you know, and now they don't know how much money they made because it's all going to their personal and they're spending it. So, so that's why it's important to just start right from the beginning.
So how many clients do you have?
I have about 60 clients. I have a team of girls that work for me that are also bookkeepers, and they do all the transactional stuff. Everything is tied in QuickBooks. It's all electronic, so it syncs to their bank accounts, the clients, and they put in all the transactions in the categories that I have assigned for this business that works for them. I try to be as detailed as possible. They do all the transactions, they do all the reconciling, and then I go in before I turn it over to the client for the month or the quarter, whichever one they're contracted with. And I go over and I review all the transactions that the team did, or the girls that are assigned the different accounts. And I go in and I make changes, and if I see something that they're doing wrong, I let them know and say it needs to be done this way. And then the financials are produced and sent to the client. And then I get paid, and then I pay them.
Does having a bookkeeper reduce the cost of having a CPA?
Yes, because the CPA will charge $300 an hour to do your bookkeeping usually, and I charge $85. So when I'm all done, it's all in a package. All they need is an hour to do your return, usually, because it's going to be so easy to read when I'm finished. They just go into their software, their tax software, punch in the numbers, and boom, you're only paying $300, maybe $400 once a year to do your return. And then you're paying the bookkeeper. It winds up to be a lot less than what the CPA would charge you.
I'm going to have to go talk to my CPA.
Yeah. And they don't like doing it usually, because they would prefer to just do the tax returns. That's where a lot of my referrals come from, or CPAs.
I was going to say, yeah, so how do you get clients then?
My business started 30 years ago, and it has been 100% referral. I've never advertised. I have a website only because you're supposed to. I don't have Instagram. I don't have a Facebook page. I go to BNI, which is where I got a lot of my clients too. Other networking groups in between BNIs and before BNIs, other networking groups. So it's all been 100% referral and word of mouth. That's how I got my clients. And I've had quite a few clients for more than 10 years.
It's a lot. Mm-hmm. How many more clients can you take on?
Well, as long as I have the team that I have right now, the 3 girls that work for me, they're very good, very efficient, very good. It's all electronic. So I can probably take on 10 more clients. I could probably take on 10 more clients.
Before you have to hire somebody else?
Before I would have to hire somebody else, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So hurry up and sign up now before you lose your spot, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times what takes up most of my time are cleanups, because I'll get a call or a referral from somebody, let's say BNI, who knows somebody, and they haven't done anything since 2018, and they've had the EIN number, they've had the business, and more times than not, they've never filed a tax return. And those are the fun ones. I say fun because I mean it. It's not a good idea for them, but for me, it's like a puzzle, and I like that.
You do like it.
I do. It's kind of fun, figuring it out and getting it all together, and then I become the hero because I fixed everything. And it makes me feel good about me.
And what do you go? You going through all like their electronic, all the payments, their bank statements.
Yeah,
You're
bank
going
statements,
through.
credit card statements, reconciling everything, categorizing everything, making sure that everything goes on the right report, and every transaction has a name, so that you can run reports and see how much you paid to one vendor, and then where your money's coming in, customer base and database and that kind of stuff, if they want it.
Where do you start with that? I imagine it's like like a messy room, right? And you just gotta like pick something and start cleaning that.
Well, I start with them sitting in the room with me.
Okay.
And we get online and we bring up their bank account or their credit card. In a lot of cases like that, they have multiple accounts in that kind of, like might have 10 accounts. They might have 2 or 3 business checking accounts. Why, I don't know. I didn't know them when they started it. I get them now. So we go sit together, we get online, and they assign me my own username and password. And I only have view and download capability. No transaction capability, no transfer. I don't want any of that. I only want to be able to look and download and see stuff. Now, some banks will let you do that, some banks won't. But I have 100% trust in my clients, and my clients have that in me. I've never once had any kind of security breach in 30 years. Nothing's ever happened under my watch, ever. And that's how we start. We just start with username and passwords, and I just start downloading and getting check images. That's the hardest part. They write a check in 2018 and the bank doesn't let you see the check, then they've got to figure out who the check was written to. So hopefully they have their checkbook and they made a note.
And if not,
then they're just going to have to guess what they think it is. I mean, I got to put it somewhere, I got to put it somewhere.
what if they're wrong?
If they're wrong, then it just comes back to bite them, and then the IRS will just redo the return. That's what they do. They just redo it. And whereas, maybe he owed $500 one year, they redo it and he might owe $1,000. But the problem with something like that is you have penalty upon penalty upon interest, and you just are in a hole. And then some cases, people never grow out of it.
Right, because if you mess up 6 years ago, then they charge you for all that mistake for 6 years.
Yes.
Because they took forever to figure out that you were wrong.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, and
they sock it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, they're messed up. I wish they'd get rid of it.
I know. I wish it was just a straightforward everything. You make this much money, you pay this much. You make this much money, you pay this much. So much easier.
Yeah, just like a flat tax.
Yep.
One time and done.
Yep. One time and you're done.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yep.
Or no tax.
Or no tax at all.
You just pay taxes when you buy something, perhaps.
That's it. Yeah.
You
Because there's no, the other thing too, is speaking of taxes, a lot of people, one of the things I do is I just teach. I'm all about teaching my clients and people how it works. So you have your income taxes that you pay at the end on your tax return at the end of a tax year. Those are income taxes. Then you have your payroll taxes. If you have payroll, those are different. So those are monthly, weekly, quarterly, annual. Okay, those are very important, and those are the ones that can get you in trouble. Then you have your sales taxes, which are when you buy and sell goods. So there's so many different tax categories that I have to teach a lot of clients. Like one of them got a letter, and she thought it was from the IRS. And she was just freaking out. She thought it was from the IRS, and it was like, I think it said she owed, I don't know, $25,000, I think, something like that. And I said, well, scan it to me. And she wasn't even a client. It was just a consultation for half an hour. And she booked it on my calendar on my website. And I knew who she was because I got a text from somebody said they gave her my name. So I said, well, send me the letter. So she scanned it and emailed it to me while we're on the Zoom, and I could look at it at the same time. Well, it wasn't from the IRS. It was from the Department of Revenue, which is the state. and it was a sales tax issue. That's something that happened in 2019 when I didn't even know her. So, and it was a demand letter, which means they had gotten letters before and they didn't do anything about it. So now they're coming after them. But that's what I'm talking about, the difference between the different agencies. A lot of people don't know, that it wasn't the IRS. It was the actual state of Arizona.
For 25,000?
Yeah, for back sales taxes that apparently they felt that she or the organization was supposed to pay.
And does that come in like the TPT thing?
Yes, but because it was a demand letter, there wasn't anything I could do. They had to go to an attorney. So they had to go talk to an attorney, a tax attorney, who would then get power of attorney to talk to the Department of Revenue on their behalf and try to figure it out.
Hopefully reduce it, or
yeah, that would have been over my head. I couldn't have done anything at that point. They needed legal advice.
that's a lot of money.
It was, yeah.
What business was she in?
I would rather not say. I'm very confidential.
Got it. Okay. You've got a question here. Let's see. Should I pay myself?
Oh, that's always a fun one. The way that I tell people, there's a lot of business coaches out there, and I don't know what they say. It may be the same, may be different, may be better than what I say. But what I always tell my clients is if they were working for somebody and you need so much money a week or a month to pay your bills, your mortgage, your food, gas, that kind of stuff that you would if you were to work for somebody as a W-2, then that's the money that you figure out how to pay yourself. And then you know how much money you have to make in order to pay yourself that salary. That's the way I tell my clients to do it. And then you can give yourself a payroll, you can just take a draw.
Should you pay yourself more than you have to?
If you can afford it, I mean, it's all based on how much money you're making and what your net income is. If your net income is $50,000 a month, sure, you could probably pay yourself
What if
money.
you didn't pay yourself enough and then you were subsidizing that with business money?
And you're using your business money as
Supplementing it,
for personal expenses?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to use the business money for the business expenses. One of those expenses would be a draw, and then you take that money, and then the buck has to stop there.
So you need to be able to pay yourself at least your own personal expenses.
Right, yes. That's the ideal situation. Doesn't always work that way, but that would be the ideal situation.
Yeah, so like if you were paying yourself $4,000 a month for your living expenses, and then you got a bill that you then exceeded your $4,000 a month, and you're like, oh, I need to pay that, and you took out of your business account to pay that, that'd be real bad.
That would be another draw on top of that one. So.
Yeah, or so you just got to categorize it as a draw. 'Cause
Yes.
you can give yourself as much.
Yes, you can give
whenever
yourself
you
as
want.
much as you can afford and as much as you need.
But you just need to make sure you document
Yeah.
that amount.
Yeah, and a lot of personal expenses that they're bought on business accounts, those are considered draws. Like a medical expense, unless you have health insurance with your company, then that would be considered a draw. If you have to go to the doctor or something like that, and if you accidentally pay something with your business card that's personal, usually you pay it back, and then it's a wash.
Because then you do a draw. Say you wanted to buy a car, you took out $20,000 from your business account. You did a draw, and then you'd actually get taxed personally on that $20,000.
Well, no, for a car,
Yeah.
you could classify a car as a business asset, so it would be okay if you
Okay.
bought it with the business money. And if you didn't buy it with the business money, you bought it personal, you can still put the car as an asset, and then you would put it as a receivable that you owe the company money. So it wouldn't be a draw. It would be an asset, and then it would be you would owe the company. It would be an owner liability would be what it would be.
Even if it was a personal vehicle to be used?
Well, you wouldn't say that.
Got it. Yeah. You can do at least
You can do
50%
at least
as a
one, yeah,
business
yeah.
and personal.
Yeah, you can do at least one vehicle on your business. That's fine.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can do
That's reasonable.
one vehicle is like 100%. If you have two vehicles, you can make one
It's
100% business, and the other
and
one
then
like
the other one would be
50.
50, and then you got to keep track of the personal mileage
Yeah.
on those. So.
That's essentially what I do.
Mm-hmm.
How do you manage being an entrepreneur and having a family life?
Oh, well, I guess first and foremost, my husband is 100% supportive of my business all the time. And my kids are grown, so they don't, I don't, not that I'm not a mom, but they don't need me as much. I have a lot of friends that support me. I can make my own schedule. So it's a lot easier as my kids got older to be able to do it. But, sometimes I'll take a vacation, like over 4th of July, we went to San Diego for 5 days. And I come back and I have, 40 emails, even though the clients know I'm on vacation, I still have things I have to take care of. So sometimes even as a business owner, you still are a little behind because you still have all those things to do. And I don't want to work until 8 o'clock at night. Do I have enough work to keep me busy that long? Sure. Do I want to? No. So some nights I can, and then some nights I don't want to.
When do you usually get started in the day?
Probably 7:30 or 8. I get up and do my morning routine, coffee and toast, and get ready for the day, and then I get organized, and I just sit down at my desk at home because I work from home.
And just nonstop, 100%.
No, I'm home. I have a dog, and take care of the dog, and I do house cleaning in between, or something, and or I have a lot of Zoom meetings and stuff like that, and then I give myself a lunch hour and a break, and I can work as much or as little as I want to. I try not to work too little because then it just puts me behind, and I don't want to do that. So.
Yeah, it's like the nice thing about being your own boss, working from home.
Yes, it is.
It's like sometimes you may be like 5 a.m. to 9 p.m., but there's a lot of...
Yeah, and all my clients are very understanding of, if I'm out of town or if I'm unavailable. And then, like, I have to have my left hip replaced August 14th, so I'll be out for probably 2 to 3 weeks. And but they're all very understanding, and very patient, so. And if for some reason something were to come up that they needed me to take care of, I would do it, or I would ask one of the girls if their account signed to that account, I'd have them do it. So.
You tell your husband, bring me my computer.
Yes, and I do when this is my second hip surgery, so I can't sit at my office chair for more than 20 minutes. It's too painful. So then I can go to the recliner and I have my laptop, and I can catch up.
Do you stream
weeks.
TV shows while you work?
No, I can't. I can't have any music. I can't have any background noise. Maybe far away in the kitchen I can have a little music, but I'm one of those, I'm just focused and concentrating on what I'm doing. I don't like to have any outside noises.
With all the numbers and...
Yes, because I talk to myself a lot when I'm working, and I talk to myself and as I'm clicking and moving, and I have 3 screens at my computer. So sometimes 4. I can break it down into 4 screens. So I'm looking at a bank statement, I'm looking at their financials, I'm looking at their email, so I'm looking at all 3 things at the same time so that I can make sure that it all goes together.
There's that meme from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The guy, he's got the smoke and he's got the board and it's got all the lines, like he's putting all the information together of like a conspiracy theory of some sort. That one. I feel like that might be you.
It probably
sometimes trying to figure out who paid what and everything,
yes.
and
yes,
especially when it's like, was this a personal thing or not? And
yes, and it happens a lot. That's why I talk to myself.
Yeah, keep
it
your
helps
sanity.
me get through the day. Yes.
And so you've been doing this for 30 years.
Oh yeah.
Why? Like, what got you? How'd you get into it?
Actually, probably longer. Probably more like 40 years.
Oh my!
I'm dating myself. Yikes.
Well,
but no, I was actually very fortunate in high school. I took accounting in high school and I aced it, and it was just like, It was easy. It always just came easy to me. So I already knew what path I was taking, and that's just the business path, and that's what I took in high school. And then I just got a job and started working for a subcontractor installation, and it just kind of evolved from there. And every job I had, I always was maybe just the girl Friday or the receptionist that did a little bit of accounting on the side or something like that. And then eventually I was the manager. I always moved up the ladder all the time, so because the more you do, the more they give you. And the more they give you, the more you do.
And then less you get paid.
And then less you get paid. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I went out on my own.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you had some experience building up to it.
Yes. Yes.
I never hit this microphone until
Yes,
today.
Yes. And a lot of different trades too. So that's the other thing. My client base is very versatile.
Do you just accounting all the time, or is there any other interest, anything else that you do outside of that?
Outside of work, I like to go to the movies. I like to go to different wine bars and try different wine tastings and stuff like that in different places to go. My husband and I, we have a side-by-side, so we go in the desert when the weather's nice and go exploring. And I've never was a big hiker, even when I didn't have metal in my body. I just never was a big hiker, but we have a side-by-side so I can go the places that people might hike. And then sometimes we just get in the car and we just drive wherever we feel like going. Where I'd like to go see new places and travel and stuff like that.
Even when gas prices are $4?
Well, my car's a hybrid, so it's pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's usually what I like to, and I like to have parties. I'm big on entertaining, and my friends come over, and I like to make charcuterie boards and bake and cook, and so
But
that's
not charcuterie boards.
Well, I call them charcuterie boards.
Charcuterie boards?
Charcuterie boards.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're actually called charcuterie boards. So I like those. I have a book on charcuterie board book, and I always like to try new recipes and stuff like that because that's my zen in the kitchen, and entertain me. That's my zen. That's how I unplug, is by doing that.
I like the one that's Sean Connery boards.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that before.
Who calls
too.
it that? It was someone in our chapter.
Somebody in our BNI chapter. Maybe it was Nicole. Sean
Yeah.
Connery boards. Yeah.
I like
that was
that
a funny
one
one too. Yeah.
So you give back to the community in some form?
Yes, there is an organization. It's called Courage Under Cancer Foundation, and I have been the treasurer since the inception of their 501c3, which has been 2019. And what we do is we pay bills for cancer patients going through treatment, and up to $500. And we have a board, and there's 3 ladies that go through the emails, and then they email me and say this person's ready for help. So I go in and I look at the paperwork, and then I write the check to whether it's a car payment or rent or their electric bill. They just have to prove with a letter from their doctor that they have cancer and submit a bill, and then we send it out for them and let them know that we helped them.
Of any age?
Yes, because cancer touches everybody. It touched me. My mom passed away about 10 years ago from kidney cancer, and everybody that's on the board, one or multiple members, in my case multiple members, have passed away from cancer. So it's kind of a cause near and dear to my heart, and everybody that's on the board, and it's all volunteer, so I don't get paid for that time, but I do it to help people. And we have our big fundraiser coming up in November. It's a fashion show at Leisure World. It's November 7th, I believe. And it's courageundercancer.org if you want to donate, volunteer, or attend.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, do you have, I like this one. I think a lot of people can relate to it, and it might be our final one here.
Okay.
What are some mistakes that small businesses make?
Well, I think it was what we talked about full circle here is not having enough money to run the business. Like say like a restaurant is the biggest one. A lot of people can cook and they're very good and they think, "Oh, I want to start a restaurant. This will be fun." Well, you got to have a lot of money to start a restaurant because the food is expensive. You got to have a venue, you have to have menus, you got to have staff. It costs a lot of money. So depending on the type of work you want to do, you need to have the capital or some sort of investor that's going to help you get started the right way so that you have enough money to get to where you need to go. That's the biggest mistake most people make, is that they don't have enough money to start with. They use the business money for their personal expenses, and they never get a business bank account or checking or business credit card. So those are the three biggest mistakes that they make. And they don't do anything with their books for a long time. And they just think it's not a big deal, but it really is.
So it could be very detrimental to not have enough
yes.
money.
It would come back to bite them
that.
100%. Yeah.
So if you don't have enough money, don't start the business.
Yes, if you don't have enough money, don't start the business. Then it becomes a hobby. Then it's just a hobby.
That you can collect money on?
Yeah.
On the side?
Yeah. Yep. But you can't file a tax return on it. It's just a hobby.
That just needs to go into your personal.
That can go into your personal, and you can buy it, and it's, you get $1,000 for doing something. That's not a big deal. You start collecting 50,000, 60,000, on the side of whatever your regular job is, then maybe you ought to start thinking about something. Going legit, as they say.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you get like $50,000 from your side hustle in your personal account, like you're still getting taxed on that differently, or are you going to get more taxes?
You're not necessarily claiming it because you don't have an EIN number. Mm-hmm. You're not putting it on a Schedule C on your tax return, even though you should. And you can do that under your Social Security number. But there again, the IRS can easily consider it a hobby because it's coming out of your personal account, which is why you don't do that. Because they can come back and say it's just a hobby.
And then you can't write things off?
It's the same stuff you can write off, but they might not accept it because it's not tied to an EIN number.
It's not actually a business.
Because it's not actually a business.
So you can't actually write it off as a business
so
expense.
They can turn around and say, and just add that 50,000 right to your income level, and then your taxable income goes higher. And then none of those expenses are written off.
That'd be terrible.
Yes. Usually is.
Because businesses get taxed after expenses, and people get taxed before expenses.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So that's why having a lot of people in your corner that know this stuff is important. Yep.
So one of the mistakes that businesses make is not having a bookkeeper.
Usually, yes.
Get a business, get a bookkeeper.
Get a business, get a bookkeeper.
Or get a bookkeeper before you get the business.
Yeah, talk to a bookkeeper.
And they'll help you
before
organize.
You get the business, and they'll help you get started on the right path. A good one will.
Yeah.
Because there are some not so good ones out there.
They take advantage of people?
They take advantage of people. They charge too much, and they don't do what they say they can do. Because if I don't know something, I'll say I don't know it. I got no problem saying I don't know it, or I might point them in a direction that can help them better than I can. So if I'm over my head, I'm certainly going to say something.